Well, I'm going to start this episode with a quite dramatic and probably bold statement. I think this is the most frustrating start to a season I have ever had in Football Manager. I may be proven wrong after deadline day and playing relegated Crystal Palace in a few moments, but for now, this has been agonising, and despite more transfer work, it isn't getting any better. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 10 of Built in Bristol with me, Daniel. We are back today with our name out of sight behind my head on a championship table because we are bottom and we are the only team to have not picked up a point yet this season. We'll be trying to change that against Rafa Benitez's Crystal Palace after they were relegated from the Premier League, but they've still got most of their stars in situ. And we are going to reflect on what has been a busy few weeks in the transfer window and a period of frustration, because we'll see why in a moment. If you're looking forward to seeing if we can get a point on the board and maybe show some signs of progress, then please do put a thumbs up on it. But let's start with transfer work before we head to the schedule, because we've done a bit more, but it's still been frustrating. I guess the key news is, in addition to one player coming in, who many of you may recognise, we have had a couple of players leave the club, both of them on loan and one that we wanted to get done. Naki Wells has gone to promoted Leyton Orient, who are now in League One. He has gone there and they're paying the equivalent of 40% of his wages. But it's one more player out of the club who is supporting all of the naysayers in the dressing room and the problem people. And of course, although he was great for us last year, he is declining very quickly. So we'll see how he does in League One. Didn't play well in his first game by all accounts. We also loaned out Sam Bell, which we knew was going to happen as part of the Knockaert deal. We got him out. He's going to get a season of football in League One and hopefully he'll do very well there. In terms of ins though, we have brought in one more quality wide man who just came in time to feature in the midweek cup game. Chiquinho has joined on loan from Wolves, a 23-year-old winger, can play off the left and the right. And with Tommy Conway on his third injury of the season already, it just felt like something we had to do. We tried to bring in some really big names on loan. We looked at Cole Palmer. We looked at Armando Broja from Chelsea, who could have played in any of the front three. It just didn't work. So in the end, we went for someone we could get in and a manageable wage as well. With all of that done, we have got a pretty good squad. And on paper, we look really good. But it has not translated to results because every league game has been a 2-1 defeat so far. And what's frustrating is you saw the Plymouth game, we had the higher expected goals. Let me show you the Sheffield United one. Seriously, we lost by 2-1. We conceded from the kickoff after going ahead from Sam Surridge. Look at the stats. 2.5 expected goals to 0.5 and we lost 2-1. They scored their only 2 shots on target. It just feels like everything is going against us there. The following game against Luton, we weren't great. Surridge scored, but we lost 2-1. And we did win the 2 cup games. A brace from Bulat in the first round against Carlisle and a brace from Surridge in a second round against 10-man Stockport. But it's been just infuriating, genuinely, because we were brilliant in pre-season. We've shown good performances bar the Luton game, and we've not managed to get any results. And I'm now, because of the disappointment, the frustration, the people losing their stuff off the pitch, look at the club atmosphere, the managerial support, the list of unhappiness. Tommy Conway wants 25 grand a week, Cornick wants 20, Benarous now wants 15. He's been out injured for a year, played 3 games, and now decided he wants so much money. I mean, it's not realistic, that. Mark Sykes is now unhappy with signing Chiquinho. Alex Scott wants to leave the club, but we're not actually getting any offers at the minute. And Max O'Leary still wants to play in a better division, despite not being good enough for this one. We've also had a few injuries. We've had a lot of frustration. But because I'm getting frustrated by it, I'm now doing all the things that I instruct people not to do in our top 3 guides and whatever else. So I've been tweaking tactically constantly. We did it for the Sheffield United game and it worked really well. We're playing a bit more football this year because we've now got a very good midfield 3, all very good technically. Chiquinho now the same. And I know Cornick not quite so much, but most of the others like Benarous are. And we're playing out from the back with 2 good ball-playing defenders, and even Sepp Vandenberg on the right can play as well. So we're trying to play a bit more football, focus on getting through the middle with that quality, and we're creating bundles of chances, but we're just not scoring goals, and every time the ball comes in our half of the pitch, we seem to concede a goal. So it's a very frustrating time. We're playing really well other than that. I've been tweaking all of these blocks and defensive lines and whatever else, but if we're being brutally honest, it probably just needs time. I'm really confident in the squad we've got. We've been playing some really good stuff. Maybe we're a defender away still. Is Cal Naismith mobile enough? I don't know. But otherwise, that's what's frustrating. We're creating enough chances to win 3 games. We're conceding very few chances, but we're still ending up on a losing side every week. So I'm hoping it will turn in time, but if it doesn't in the next few games, we're going to come under pressure because that club atmosphere, the pile-on of negative morale, we know it doesn't take long in FM, and that's something I'm very worried about. It is deadline day today, and of course you can see people we've been linked with. Reece Williams actually went on loan to Sheffield United, played against us last week. Masengo being linked with a move away, which isn't going to happen. And both Palmer and Hannibal have already rejected loan moves to us this summer. So we're going to get through to the end of deadline day. If you have a look at what's expected in the league, you can see Crystal Palace have still got their stars. Elise, Decore, Eze still there as well. Mitchell and Guahi, the England defenders. I mean, there's no sign that we're going to be competitive. It doesn't look like we're going to have any ins if everything goes to plan because we have basically built our squad now. So unless a really brilliant loan option comes up, I wouldn't expect there to be anything. What we're going to do though is see if we get offers for our big boys because there are still players wanted. Alex Scott, not one of them weirdly, but Masengo, we've seen he's been linked with other clubs. And there's a couple of others who are wanted too. So 15 hours to go. I'm hoping for a quiet day, then to just settle down and get on with the season. But let me know in the comments if you've got any ideas tactically and what you think I should do because we're losing every game, yet playing brilliantly and playing teams off the park. It is a frustrating one for sure. Back in a moment for any deadline day news. Well, a very frustrating day to finish what has been a quite annoying summer, to be honest. We had all of our issues rolled into that 15 hours, a work permit issue for an Argentinian midfielder. We also missed out on Victor Gyökeres, who we made a bid for about 5 million. He was then sold to Cologne instead and accepted half the wage he wanted to play for us. And we also missed out on other loan options like Cole Palmer again and 1 or 2 others from the Premier League. So we're not in the best of shape on that front. We haven't improved the squad today, but we had no offers at all for Alex Scott, for Masengo, for any of the star players. And overall this summer, we've done very good work. Experienced older heads out of the club like Vyman, like Wells. And maybe it will just take a few weeks for these younger players to settle in. Our wage bill is now the 18th biggest in the championship, which suggests that we would be in a battle at the bottom. But last year, of course, we were able to do really well. We're still getting constant loan offers offering to pay no wages for some of our players. But most players out for us, 39, and that includes a fair few players on deadline day who had links. So we started the day with Zach Bell going out on loan to Tranmere. We finished it with Zach Ali getting an offer from Salisbury. Of course, they're non-league, so their window will stay open. And they are looking to be the only departures from deadline day, with one poor offer for Taylor Moore, with no wage contribution as well. And you can see at the end of the day, we had a cheeky go for Brian Gill as well, which didn't come off. So it leaves us with the squad we've got, which is pretty good on paper. It's just whether it can start delivering and whether we can sort this dynamic screen out. I've tried to adjust it a bit in training, but there's not a great deal I can do here. We've got players who are unhappy for ridiculous wage demands, but we can't get them out of the club, even while they're on their lower ones. And of course, we've got injuries, we've got frustrations. It's just been one of those starts to the season, and we don't often start poorly across our saves. We're normally pretty well drilled in pre-season. We get players up to fitness and everything. But it's just been one of those. It's been a little bit annoying. And I say what I said at the end of last season. I have never seen wage demands like in this save. And since the January update, I found it a big problem. And this time, I mean, it's just ludicrous what some of them are asking for. None as bad as Andy Vyman yet. And for the first time after over a year, still no managerial support. We got in the playoffs last year. I mean, what more can you really do? Let's just go and get ahead to Palace tomorrow. They've got a team of superstars who hopefully will be unhappy as well. I'm sure they'll come out on top because on paper, they're one of the sides that should do. Well, we return for fitness test time ahead of the Palace game and Tommy Conway has failed his. Joe Williams is not yet fit either, though Sepp Vandenberg should be back. Now, I don't know if it's a coincidence that the players who have generally been unhappy this summer or wanting more money are the ones that keep getting injured, but we'll gloss over that for now. We play Crystal Palace, and if we lose this one, we could start to come under job pressure going into the international break. We're going to make all the changes from the cup game in the week. We're going to go and sort out our 11 too. You can see Palace haven't lost any of the stars really. Zaha went off to Fulham, but Edouard's still there. They've got Fabio Carvalho in, Tommy Doyle as well, and Guehi, Anderson, Mitchell, Elise, Eze all still at the club. We're in trouble. Let's go and get our team picked. Back in a minute to run through it. Well, this is the squad we've gone for today, and while we've stuck with basically what we've been doing in terms of tactical instructions, I have adjusted a couple of the roles during this season for what I feel is our best balance of squad, albeit that's not been proven at all on the pitch yet. We've got Alex Scott into an advanced playmaker support position. Bulat is in there and has taken over as a deep line playmaker. But what I'm going to do with these two is I'm going to allow them to switch positions because Masengo and Bulat both good in both roles. And then Pring and Vandenberg have gone to wing-back duties on defend because when they were in supporting duties in the full-back role, we were just getting left 2-on-2 too often. So I'm hoping they'll sit a bit deeper, but actually with more attempt to put crosses in. We've got Baxter in goal. He stays as the sweeper keeper. So let's just see what performance we put in. The type of attack Palace have got with physicality, with pace, with quality. Probably a nightmare for us, but this is our 11 to face it. It's Baxter in goal with Vandenberg and Pring the fullbacks, Bajcetic and Naismith centre half. If we keep making mistakes at the back where Naismith is, I will put Vandenberg in the middle and then play Tanner out at right back. Masengo and Bulat the midfield too, Scott in as a number 10, then Chiquino and Cornick off Surridge up front, who is one of the bright sparks of this season. 2 league goals, 2 cup goals. Let's see if he can add to that today. Well, here is the side we're coming up against with 5 changes for Palace from the cup game. And to be fair, it's a very good team they've got out. I mean, we managed them at part in the head coach this year, didn't we? They've got Mateta, Decore, Vinagre and Richards on the bench. They'd all walk into our team. So this is one of those times where we don't expect to win the game. But we've got to try and get some confidence into the club. And that's all I'm really worried about at this point. Once the confidence comes, the rest will flow. But that is a long way off at the minute. And it just needs one of those freak results where we go and get a 2 or 3-1 win in a game where we don't deserve it. Pretty much the reverse of what's happened to us most weeks. And then we can really start to push on. We've got a free kick from Bulat that goes over the bar. And that is the first chance we see as with 9 on the clock. So long ball forward from Palace. Pring, what are you doing in there? Why are you in at centre half trying to win the header? Elise gets out wide with plenty of space, cuts it back to Roberts, into the back post, off the post from Carvalho, and not even closed down before he gets the rebound. I don't understand what Pring was doing from the goal kick. He ran in and stood on Naismith to win the header. That doesn't make any sense. And again, we've conceded the first shot on target as Eze's got a free kick to the back post and Elise headed over the bar. Oh, it's the story of the season, honestly. And you watch this game. We'll be competitive. We'll play well. And we'll end up getting done again. I'm encouraging the lads. I'm trying to keep the confidence up where possible. But at what point do I just throw the kitchen sink at them and say, right, we've got to actually start achieving here, getting results out of this. As Pring gets the ball at left back. Nice to see him in his actual position this time. Naismith finds Masengo. To Chiquino, who's not yet match fit, but will make an impact when he is. As Bulat gets it to Scott. Referee plays advantage. We're forced backwards though. Naismith chips it over. Surridge in. Is he onside? I think he is. No, he's not. It's disallowed. The assistant didn't put his flag up, but the referee made the call. And it stays 1-0. Of course, the finish was too good to be true. As Mitchell gives it to Carvalho. Palace forward on the left. You can see the quality they've got. They've got loads of players in attack as well. As Roberts puts it in. Vandenberg away. Pring gets it out to the edge. And Roberts gets it wide to Doyle. He puts the ball in. Bajcetic heads clear. And now Cornick can counter. Can we finally get on the front foot? Surridge holds up, but it's a heavy touch. Down the line to Cornick, who's beaten by Mitchell. It's back to Mark Guehi, who plays long downfield. We're so vulnerable to the direct ball. As Masengo goes over to Surridge. He's got in between them. Surridge is in. That one won't be ruled out. 5 for the season, and despite all the negatives, these two have been the pros. Masengo has found some of those brilliant passes constantly, and the big news is Sam Surridge is a goal scorer. The shame is he's got to score 3 or 4 every game for us to win one, but he does get his goal again today. And when we do get flowing, if he can keep scoring, we're going to have a player on our hands, as at the back it's Guehi for Palace, who definitely playing higher up the pitch than anyone else we've played this year. But of course, the outcome at the moment is better for us, as Cornick gets it on halfway. Carries it across the pitch to the left. Finds Chiquino. Ball into Surridge. Oh, that's his easiest chance of the match. Scores a pretty difficult one into the top corner. And then that one is headed wide. It was a glancing header. Just needed a bit more on it. But really good signs from Chiquino. Good sign from Cornick there as well. And we're playing well. This is the thing again. We're playing really well. But as soon as Palace have an attack, we know we're at threat of conceding. Because we just cannot defend at the moment. It's been another good performance. It's been another promising display. But here's a Palace corner. And it's up to Guehi. It's just over the bar. I thought it was in. Chiquino will have to come off soon. We've got to be aware of him. And I'm also looking at the yellow cards in defence. But for now, Bula and Chiquino are the two to look after. So on will come Benarous on the left-hand side, who will stay in that role. We'll also go for Matty James. A bit of experience, I think. Or in fact, we'll bring on Mehmeti. And we'll drop Alex Scott in centre midfield. Because he does seem to play a little better there. 2 changes made, 25 to go. At the moment, another good performance without a real reward. Well, coming up to the final 15, I was about to make changes, but it's a Palace corner and Baxter does well with it. I did try to help our defensive position by getting Mads Anderson in again, the man who's gone to Luton in real life, but for the second time, his work permit rejected in FM, which just isn't right at all. As Cornick gets it on the right, gives it away again. Not had his best game out there, albeit was very influential in the goal and the chance after. Elise gets it down the right. He might cost us the game here though. Elise with a chance to cross. Lovely footwork. Back to Doyle and Roberts. Good block. Scott gets up but can't win it. Eze on the edge. We know the magic's coming. Hackney gets the ball back to Hain. And it's a big ball over the top. Edouard in the box. Vandenberg's knackered. Back to Tyrick Mitchell. Into Mateta. Just over. And that's the vulnerability. I'm going to make the change at right back. Vandenberg struggling. On comes Tanner. And then what do we do in midfield? I'm looking at Cornick and maybe going for Sykes as the more sort of traditional midfield option. Maybe even as a support duty for these two. Should we try and be a bit more balanced and just see if it works out for us? 2 wingers on support. Get the ball into Surridge. And for now, we'll see how we get on. 15 minutes remaining. Still 1-1. But Palace a massive threat on the counter. They've had 1 shot on target and scored it. And it's off the line. It's a great save from Baxter. I was about to say 2 from 2. But that is stunning goalkeeping. Who do we bring off for the final sub? Scott and Pring both struggling. So Matty James will come on for Alex Scott. And with 10 minutes to go, we're trying to cling on now. Just to get a point would be a blessed relief after this start to the season. And to do it against arguably the hardest opposition we've faced would not be a bad effort. We're off the mark, and after last season, flying in a battle for the top 2 most of the year, I am celebrating the fact that we have got a point. And our first one of the season at home. We're still in the relegation zone. We're still struggling. But that was better. And again, it was a very good performance against a good team. We're on 1 point. We're off the bottom at least. We're ahead of Blackpool and now chasing the rest. But a few little signs of cohesion there. Let's have a look at the schedule for when we're going to be back. Because Semenyo has given us 250 grand after playing again for Bournemouth. I just want to have a look at when we're going to come back. I should say it'll be a relegation battle against Blackpool, but I think the 2 games at the start of October are ones that are worth coming back for. Bournemouth have been relegated and are top at the moment. Coventry up in that top 6 as well, and albeit they lost Gyökeres on deadline day, they did sign a couple of good ones on loan. Cole Palmer's gone to Burnley, which will probably be in the episode after that. But for now, the good news is we've got our first point of the season. There are so many encouraging signs, as I'm sure you saw in that performance. But we just cannot get over the line at the minute. Hopefully the goals will start flowing eventually. Once those 2 wide men aren't unhappy, or in Chiquino's case, he's now up to speed, will the goals start flowing from them too? If you want to find out and you did enjoy this one, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of the summer transfer window, because I actually think we've had a brilliant window and we've improved the squad massively. But it's very hard to say that until the proof comes on the pitch. Let's hope it's the opposite of last season. We've started poorly and then we finish like a house on fire and go up with momentum at the end of the year. That's the plan anyway. If you're looking forward to finding out if it happens, then subscribe and turn that notification bell on. Do check out all the other playlists, including the Builder Nation in the eye above. We've also got our top 3s and the podcast channel for championship predictions from the real footballing world every single match day. A massive thank you for your support with that, with the sponsor HelloFresh and everything else on the channel. Any links you can't find for socials and all of that, they'll be somewhere in the description. But thank you very much for watching. Your support as always is appreciated. We're off the mark and hopefully the confidence will now build. And I'll see you back here next time. See if the results have started to flow.